Hello, my name is Mia, and I want to tell you my story about domestic harassment. It's like domestic violence, only without assault. It's based on moral pressure and tracking my every breath. And the source of my paranoia is my mom. My mom, who is chasing me literally everywhere, wherever I go, and no matter what I do. Whether I'm sitting in the classroom, whether I'm out with friends, it doesn't matter. She will be somewhere nearby as some kind of constant element of the inevitable decoration. And if she is not personally here, then she 100% monitors all my moves and conversations through a smartwatch, phone, and sensor sewn into my jacket. It got to the point that at the first kiss with a guy, I did not enjoy the process, but looked around to find my mom somewhere nearby. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if the guy opened his mouth, and from there, my mom's face appeared. This is scary, I know, but seriously. I'm already 18, and she behaves as if I'm a baby who would stumble and die if I stopped looking after her. I understand that my story is 100% not unique, and there are many same videos only on this channel, but I also want to talk and splash out my pain. I am waiting for support from you, so please like this video right now. I will be happy. So, it all started from the moment when I went to school. Until 7, I stably walked with my mom by hand or played under her supervision in the yard. But at that age, it somehow didn't particularly worry me. On the contrary, a game friend who is always ready to have fun is a very valuable resource, you know. But at school, Mom continued to hold my hand. It was so embarrassing to my classmates and insulted that she did not trust me because she continued to treat me as a little girl. Somehow, by the end of the elementary school, I was able to defend a little independence, but it turned out it was a temporary effect. I was riding around the school bus with the rest of the kids as she followed us driving her car. And then, while I was sitting in the class, her car was standing under the windows. That is, technically she did not show herself, but practically every kid at school knew who owned the red sedan parked behind the gate. They laughed at me for a long time and mocked me. But then, over the time, they calmed down and started to sympathize. Because even the inveterate bullies understand that such a supervision is a problem of my mom and not my fault. Have you ever been escorted to your friend's birthday? Well, I think at 6, yeah, it's okay, but at 14? And I experienced this humiliation on myself. And my mom followed my every move, naturally breathing in my neck. Because, daughter, strangers around, this is dangerous. And the fact that there are a lot of people around me probably doesn't matter. Even at 16, when I wanted some freedom just as much as possible, she did not let me go. I was forbidden to leave home after 8 p.m. After school, I was obliged to immediately go home. No communication with friends. And if someone agreed to be with me on such a hellish condition, these people went through the most accurate and detailed analysis. Really, Mom even hired a detective to check out both my friends and that unfortunate guy who dared to confess he was in love with me. Friends didn't seem practically offended. But after this, the guy went away as fast as he could because no one wants to be checked on a polygraph just because he's close to me. I am now 18 and nothing has changed. My whole life is around-the-clock surveillance. Moreover, it would seem that the older I get, the less anxiety my mom should have. But no, it works the opposite direction for her. You see, I need to finish school, go to university, but I can't even do that. I'm ashamed to say that my mom doesn't let me do that. She seems to seriously believe that I do not need a higher education, or you need it, but it's remote. I'm already tired of explaining and trying to agree with her in a good way. I said that I want my own life, my own mistakes. I want to grow up and hang out with my friends, but she really, really can't hear me. Or she answers that I just have to not become a mummy yet and don't understand how it feels to be constantly afraid of your kid. I reply that with her constant control, I won't become a mother just because I can't even have sex with anyone. And there must be sex to have kids, right? I read something about that one. Frankly, at some point it seemed to me that running away from home was the straight way out. And I would have escaped really, but my mom's severity was just a manifestation of her character. everything would have been much simpler. And she really worries, sincerely worries, and loves me as she can. I can't do that. As a result, today I have a constant headache, a mild form of paranoia, and no personal life. And I have no idea how I can start living normally without the round-the-clock care of my mom.
Hello, I'm Mia's mom, and I also want to tell you my story. And then you decide whether I deserve your judgment or not. I gave birth to a kid very early, at 20. And at the same time, I was not even married. Now it's easier with this kind of situation, but at the time when I was young, it was almost a shame. The stigma on me and on a kid, my parents and the father of the child, did not help me. But this was not necessary. It so happened that at 20, I was already working freelance. I was a typesetter and I worked from home. My wages were not bad, and I saved enough money not to hire a nanny. My baby was quiet, calm, and did not cause any problems at all. I write about a kid, in a masculine gender. I'm not crazy. It's just not about Mia, and about her brother, Tim, who died before he was 12. That time was completely different. And it never occurred to me that a relatively grown-up kid who was already helping me around the house and could safely run to the grocery store should be watched. Tim was as independent as a 12-year-old kid can be. By that time, I had already gone to work in the office, and I often came home later than him. So my boy cooked dinner on his own so that I didn't have to cook after work, and the level of trust was maximum. I never put any restrictions on him as for hanging with his friends is concerned. Before it was dark, Tim always came home, did his homework regularly, managed to visit a couple of extra classes. So I thought, why not? And calmly let him walk with his friends, stay overnight, and some other teenage stuff. And in summer, until very late, you couldn't even wait for him. He and his friends went to the lake and stayed there until they finally turned into mermaids, or when they ran out of snacks. There were no phones then. I had to live on trust. But sometimes, one of the adults nevertheless reached their camp and checked whether everything was okay. Actually, this attitude was my main mistake. Out of inexperience, I considered Tim to be an adult, and he was a child, despite the fact that he was a little more responsible than his peers. And then a tragedy happened. I had no idea what happened on that lake. All his friends unanimously said they were swimming, and Tim was swimming with them, and then he simply disappeared. Well, in the sense, it wasn't near, and the guys logically thought he just went home, and I didn't think to worry. Do you know all those stories when the mother's heart called and warned of danger? My heart was silent. Even when Tim's friends rushed along the street, I wasn't worried and didn't sound the alarm. I just thought that he was probably delayed and would be back soon. But Tim didn't come at 10. He didn't come at 11. And at midnight, I went to the lake to give a lecture that independence is good, but sometimes you need to use your conscience. But there was no one on the lake, judging by the condition of the camp and the campfire, for quite a long time. Then there were the police, and divers, and the body. I never wish anyone to go through what I experienced. It was a nightmare from which I couldn't wake up. No matter what I did, my boy, my son drowned, and I wasn't even there to try to save him. For the next few years, I was treated in a mental asylum, where I just stared at the wall for the whole day long. They gave me some drugs, made me eat and talk to doctors, but I just didn't want to live. And then I met Mia's father, a young, new doctor who brought me back to the world. And with a course of therapy, he gave me my daughter. Not very professional, yes, but an effective way. With the beginning of pregnancy, the understanding came back to me that I had to get up and go. Even if you don't feel like it, you need to for the kid inside. We had no relations with that doctor, except conditionally professional ones. So I just moved to another city when I was out of the clinic and didn't tell him anything. I also raised Mia alone, and unlike Tim, I chose the other way. It was vital for me to see my daughter all the time, not just to know she's okay, but to personally observe that she is always under my supervision. Yes, this is not good either. I understand that, but the nightmare had left me with scars. From absolute trust, I switched to a hyper care. I understand that I interfere with my daughter's life, but every time I lose sight of her, I'm afraid this story would happen again. Before the panic attacks, heart pain, and other inappropriate symptoms, I hope that someday Mia will be able to understand and forgive me. But for now, I try to restrain myself, and every time I remind her how much I love her.
Write your opinion about this story, who is right, who is wrong, and what to do. You are welcome to have a discussion. Do not forget to share this video with your friends, and love your parents.